I opened my dream restaurant and invited my whole family to the grand opening. Not a single person showed up. They all went to Daniel's promotion party, instead a backyard BBQ with plastic chairs and warm, flat beer, while I stood alone in a lavish dining room in Chicago, where golden lights reflected off the pristine, unused tablecloths. I cleaned up by myself, folding each unused napkin, wiping down empty tables, and the kitchen still heavy with the scent of garlic and rosemary. The handwritten menu that took me hours to create remained on the front counter. The playlist of songs from my childhood played in the empty room. Just as I was locking the door, my dad texted, "We need to talk about the restaurant. My name is Sophia Bennett. I'm 34. And if you think you know how this story ends, just wait." I stared at the screen. Not a single call. No apology text. Not a single bouquet of flowers. Not even from my mom. Just Daniel's Instagram story. Promotion party vibes, with the sound of a champagne bottle popping and my whole family in the background, laughing, dancing, and holding a cake that read, "To bigger things." I built everything from scratch. They didn't just miss it. They deliberately ignored it. And I knew, when my dad texted, he wasn't interested in my success, but in the money he thought he was entitled to the family discount he believed was his right just because we shared the same last name. I typed a single sentence in reply, a sentence that would change all the rules. From now on, this restaurant does not serve any family members. No reservations, no discounts, no exceptions. 20 minutes later, my phone lit up, 19 missed calls, and a knock on the back door. It was Daniel. He stood there in a flashy blazer, his strong cologne overpowering the air, holding a leftover box of cake from the party. "Thought you might want a piece," he said with an awkward laugh. I didn't answer, just stood still. "Soph, we didn't think the grand opening was such a big deal. Dad said it was just a soft launch." I stepped outside and closed the door behind me. "You chose your party, Daniel, not mine. I hand-delivered invitations. I texted Mom 3 times. I made your favorite lemon tart, and it sat there for 5 hours." He looked down at the box of cake. Everyone was busy. "No," I replied. My voice low but sharp. They were lazy. They thought I would always be the backup plan. I threw a trash bag into a bin and walked past him. "Soph, come on. It's not that serious." But for me, it had always been serious. My dad always called me the artist child, and my mom would compare my restaurant dream to Daniel's office job. They wanted me to stay small so they wouldn't have to explain me to others. Daniel blocked my path. "Dad wants to invest now. He sees potential. He asked me to talk to you." There it was. Not remorse, not support, just business. "Tell Dad the restaurant already has an investor. That person bought the exclusive rights to my loyalty." He frowned. "What do you mean?" I smiled. "I mean, you're too late, and I don't accept leftovers." I went inside and locked the door. On the other side, I heard his heavy sigh, then the sound of his footsteps walking away. The next day, I changed all the locks. Not just at the restaurant, but at my apartment too. For years, I had let my family treat my home as a free hotel. "Soph, we need a place to stay for a few weeks. Can we leave some stuff at your place for a while? Can I borrow your car until Monday?" And every time, I'd say yes. Because saying no made me feel selfish. Because somewhere inside me, I believed that being useful meant being loved. But it didn't. True love doesn't abandon you on the most important day of your life. So I put a sign right on the restaurant door. "Dear customers, due to overwhelming support, we are now reservation only. We do not accept walk-ins, even those with shared DNA." That afternoon, the sign appeared on a few local food blogs. By evening, it had gone viral. The photo of me in a white apron, arms crossed in front of the handwritten sign, touched a common nerve. The comments poured in. "This woman is my hero. Boundaries are sweeter than betrayal. Tell Daniel to eat his arrogance cake." While social media exploded, my phone vibrated non-stop. My mom called 5 times and left a voicemail. "Sophia, this is so childish. We're family." I know we were wrong, but this public display is making everything worse. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened the door for a couple of tourists from Georgia. We saw you online, the woman smiled. We canceled our other reservation just to eat here. As I led them to their table, I caught my reflection in the window frame. The bitterness was gone. The anger was gone. I felt free. And behind me, the restaurant buzzed with laughter, the clinking of forks and knives, and second chances, the kind of chances I chose to give, not the ones I was forced to. 2 days later, my dad showed up. Not at the restaurant, he was afraid of the press, afraid of another headline. He came straight to my apartment. Sophia, open the door. Let's talk like adults, he said. I looked through the peephole. His suit was a bit rumpled, his eyes sunken. A man slowly losing control of a story he thought he had already written. Your mother is sad. Daniel's a mess. We all are, he added. I cracked the door open, but didn't let him in. Say what you need to say right here. He sighed. This is ridiculous. We're not enemies. No, I replied. Just people who only remember me when they need me to pay or cook for them. He stopped. I was going to help you. I was going to find some funding. You mean you wanted a share? You wanted control, I said. His face hardened. Don't be delusional. From behind me, I pulled out a folder. Here are the papers. The restaurant is solely in my name. LLC, recipes, copyright everything. His eyes widened. You hired a lawyer? A team, I answered calmly. It's funny what happens when you stop waiting for permission to shine. He lowered his head and mumbled softly. We only want you to succeed. No. You want me to be just small enough to control. He didn't answer. Before he turned to leave, he said, This is going to come back to bite you, Soph. You're burning bridges. I nodded slightly, calm. Then, I'll learn to swim. The door closed, and for the first time in my life, I didn't need the Bennett name to succeed. The name Sophia Bennett finally stood on its own. That evening, I got 12 new reservations, and a text from Daniel. They're planning something. Be careful. I didn't blink. Let them scheme. I was preparing too. The first sign appeared on Yelp, a 1-star review, then 2, then 6, in just 1 hour. They were all identical. The food was cold. The staff was rude. The owner stared as if she wanted to kick us out. The only problem? None of the names matched my reservation book. And at my restaurant, the food was never cold. I knew exactly what it was. Daniel's message echoed in my mind. They're planning something. Be careful. Yes, this was a smear campaign. A kind of digital sabotage that leaves no fingerprints, only venom. I didn't panic. I prepared. I called my lawyer. Then I texted a regular customer, a reporter who had once written a glowing review of the restaurant with a soul. She read the fake reviews and said, Someone's targeting you. Want to go public? I nodded. Yes. The next morning, the article was published. Beneath the apron, how a young chef is fighting sabotage from her own family. It wasn't revenge, just the truth. The article included screenshots, dates, inconsistencies, and even a witness statement. An employee who recounted my dad's threat to buy out the lease if I didn't come to my senses. Within hours, public opinion erupted. Imagine being so jealous of your own daughter's success. Families like that only create warriors. She's not the black sheep. She's a phoenix. That night, a woman came into the restaurant, leaned down, and whispered, They tried to tear you down, but I'm here to give you a $1,000 tip just for standing up for yourself. I cried. In the walk-in fridge, among the scent of vegetables. Not out of weakness, but out of relief. For the first time, I wasn't alone. The world saw what they did and chose to stand with me. But the next move didn't come from me. It came from Chloe Harper, Daniel's fiancée. She arrived as I was closing up, her hands trembling as she held her phone, her eyes full of guilt. Sophia, can I talk to you for a minute? Just a few minutes, she said. I almost said no, but something in her eyes, maybe it was guilt, made me stop. We sat at the last table by the window. She clutched the coffee cup I hadn't yet poured for her. I didn't know they would go this far, she whispered. I stayed silent. They created a whole WhatsApp group. Your mom, Daniel, even Aunt Linda and Cousin Mark. The group name was Project Reset. The plan was to pressure you into selling the restaurant or failing. I wasn't surprised. I had guessed as much. Chloe's voice caught in her throat. Daniel said they just wanted to bring you back to reality. But after the article went viral, they started blaming each other. Your mom blames Daniel. Daniel blames your dad. It's a total mess now. I looked at her and asked slowly, "Why are you telling me this?" She blushed and looked down. Because they dragged me into it. And I can't marry a man who treats his own sister like this. She pushed her phone towards me. On the screen, messages, voice recordings, evidence. Everything. If you want to go public, you have my permission. I didn't answer right away, because I understood that revenge isn't about making a big scene. It's about timing. This wasn't just about getting even. This was about freedom. I looked straight into Chloe's eyes. Thank you. You just gave me everything I needed, and I truly meant it. Because sometimes, the final card doesn't come from an insider, but from the one who dares to leave the table. 9:12 a.m. the next day. The headlines exploded. Chef Sophia Bennett, sabotaged by her own family, leaked evidence confirms conspiracy. I didn't talk to any reporters. I didn't need to. Chloe posted all the messages online herself, with a single caption, "I won't be joining a family like this." Social media blew up. Screenshots from the Project Reset group chat exposed everything. She's too arrogant. Cut off her supply of ingredients. Let's make her beg to come back. The public's outrage was immediate. People flocked to use the hashtag number #StandWithSophia. Those who had once been silent old classmates, former colleagues, even old neighbors spoke up. She always carried everything on her own. They only took advantage of her until she was exhausted. This is why she shines. Because she fought alone. By noon, the reservation list was fully booked for 6 weeks straight. 2 p.m., the landlord called. "Sophia, I'm extending your lease for 5 more years. The rent stays the same. You are the pride of this street." 3:17 p.m., Daniel texted. "I didn't know Mom saved those things. I'm sorry, I didn't reply. I was busy tasting sauce, folding napkins, and straightening a crooked picture on the wall." 5 p.m. A woman in a navy blazer and red lipstick walked in. "I'm from Food Chronicle magazine," she introduced herself. "We're doing a special issue, 10 chefs who survived the trial by fire. And you're on the cover." I paused. "The cover?" She smiled. "You're not just a chef, you're a revolution." That night, as the last dish was served and the restaurant lights dimmed, I stood barefoot in the empty dining room, a glass of wine in my hand. The air wasn't heavy anymore, it was clean. And tomorrow, I'd start planning something bigger. Because I finally understood the greatest revenge isn't just surviving, it's succeeding, seasoned with silence. Exactly 1 year later, I received a shimmery golden envelope with embossed edges, sealed with the Bennett family crest. Inside was an invitation. "You are cordially invited to the engagement party of Daniel Bennett and Vanessa Cole." I laughed out loud. The family who had abandoned me at the most important moment of my life now wanted me to be part of a ceremony designed like a perfect Instagram photo. Perhaps they hoped I would post a few congratulatory words to enhance their image. The card landed in the blender. Instead, I opened my laptop and signed the contract I'd been negotiating for months. Sophia's Table, second location. A vintage red brick building in the heart of Chicago. Exposed wooden beams on the ceiling. A lush rooftop garden. A kitchen twice the size of the first restaurant. My team was made up of people who had been overlooked. Recent culinary school graduates with no connections. Single mothers starting over. Quiet dreamers who had never had a chance. Together, we built not just a restaurant, but a place where dignity was also on the menu. On opening day, a crowd gathered outside. A familiar reporter held a microphone toward me. "Sophia, what message do you have for your family now?" I smiled and said slowly, "Nothing at all." They had demanded explanations, apologies, and second chances from me, but I owed them no words. What they needed wasn't an answer, but accountability, and I had nothing left to prove. That afternoon, I stood in my new kitchen. apron dusted with flour, hands sticky with dough. The sounds of knives chopping, laughter, and hope filled the space. A woman walked in alone, looking a bit awkward. "I read your story," she said. "My daughter wants to be a chef, but she's afraid she's not good enough." I handed her a menu and smiled gently. "Tell your daughter this. They once told me I wasn't good enough too."